on the head when it moves. So this is unfortunately a byproduct of rigging. Sometimes when you rig a character, depending on how it's created, let's say I want to track the nose visually, let's say I want to track this. Oh yeah, that's no problem. It's just a nose. It should just track that. I'm tracking a control right there. Done. And yet when you actually do track it, the trail is doing something way over here. And it might not even be pointing in the same direction. Why? What's so hard about tracking a nose there? Well, it really just has to do with the mathematics in the back end of the rig and how everything connects together. Essentially, while we visually see the point of the nose being in space right there, Maya, because of all the mathematics, and this would go with any program depending on how it's rigged, mathematically, the point of the nose is actually there. Mathematically. Doesn't quite make sense, but that's how it works out. So, we have to be able to solve that. How? Well, there's no quick, easy way, unfortunately. Because of the mathematics, you're not going to get a nice updating trail that you can now just track the tip of the nose, and there you go. The way I will typically do it, so let's say I've got that situation where I try to track the tip of the nose and the trail is just doing something over there, is I will create a locator, constrain it to the nose, get it to follow, bake out the animation so that on the locator so that it is now not following the nose, and then track that. This way there's no offsets. It's going to track that locator perfectly and give me the exact arc that I need. Great. Wonderful. Except now, if I change the head position, that locator is not updating because it's been baked out and it doesn't follow along anymore. Well, what do I do there? Well, you just redo that locator. So again, create a locator, constrain it to the tip of the nose, and then track it or bake it out to track it. And then it'll quickly update. There you go. Now, that's a lot of steps just to update one trail. You can create a script for it. So just take all of those actions, create a script, and that way every time you need to update your trail, you can just hit a button. Boop. Now it's updated. Done. It's kind of a little tedious, but honestly, a lot of times when I'm updating trails, I don't like it when it updates for every tiny little change. To me, that's more annoying than anything else. I want it to just update once I've got a chunk done. So I'll just look at my trail. Okay, update the pose. Okay, when I've got everything where I pretty much need it, pick the button, boop, new trail, done. I can fine tune it from there. Now, I can do a demo later on how to do that. I'm not going to do it here because I do want to get to the feedback, and that kind of demo will like be a shoot that we don't come back from, but I can try to do that for next week if you're interested. So I'll do something like that, but honestly, this is my personal preference. So don't feel like any of you have to do this. For me personally, I don't use motion trails. I'm not a fan of motion trails. The motion trails to me are very nice, but overall, I feel like they actually slow down my workflow. Instead, I much prefer using Grease Pencil tool. So let's say, for example, since we've got this shot open, let's track something here. What would be a good point to track? I'm trying to see something that... Okay, let's look at this foot here. As it goes up, let's set our frame range from frame 35 here to frame 55, right there. So the foot goes up, right here. We're looking at her left foot, right here. It goes up and then back down. Cool. So let's say I want to refine that animation. Let's get rid of this cube. Random cube. I want to refine that animation. Okay, well, I want to track, in this case, the heel. The heel is usually a good place to track. I could use the motion trail. Now I'll use the Animbot motion trail because it's a little faster. So right there, we get that arc right here. Let's do a 2D pan and zoom so we can see that a little bit closer. And we get the nice arc right through there and then back down. Cool. Now with this, I can now start refining my arc. So for example, I want this to ease a little bit at the top, get a little bit more of that bouncing ball spacing right in here. Something like that. Come down, nice big hit. So I could do something like this. As it comes up here, we want to push a little bit more of a visual arc. So maybe push this around here a little bit more. So I can start doing that. And you'll notice that as I'm changing something, the arc is auto updating across the whole thing. So that works. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times for me, let's actually undo this. And this is especially true for more complex motions. The moment that it auto updates, I'm losing track of what it used to look like. And I'm always going to be dealing with kind of in progress moments. So I'm seeing like this never quite all the way done, but never where I started. It's just some sort of middle ground. So for example, this is where we started here. The moment that I make a change right here, let's just take that, whoop, that whole arc changed. That's not what it started as. It's something new. I'm not a fan of that because if you're not careful, especially like big complex motions, you can start to really just go off and you're going to get something completely different from what you actually wanted. Instead, if you use something like the grease pencil tool right here, I'll just take my foot and let's see how big is this going to be. It's a little bit big. So let's bring that down here. And I'm just going to get rid of the motion trail. I'm just going to track the arc of the heel. So let's start from frame 39 here. Maybe a little bit bigger. So I'm changing the brush size by holding down B and then middle mouse dragging. Okay. Oh, and there we go. Crashed it. So I'll track it and then I'll just track the arc exactly where I want it to be. So let me actually draw this out. I will admit the grease pencil tool, one thing about it is it doesn't do well with streaming. That's something I've found out the hard way many times, is because I'm using a bunch of like extra processing power to stream. It tends to kind of not be great. But let's kind of just visually imagine that I'm tracking my arc, the heel is going up, and we might have spacing that kind of does this and then back down like so. And it's just straight and linear and boring, not fun. So what I'll often do is, okay, I drew that out. That's the spacing I have right now. What do I want it to look like? And I'll just quickly redraw the spacing with the exact arc that I want. Something like that. Let's say, thinking of how it should come through. Maybe this should ease a little bit further out here like that. And then hits hard. I draw exactly the spacing I want. I just put the foot there, done. And this way, even if I have this super complex shot, I can literally just draw exactly the arc and spacing I want, move it in place, done. I don't need any auto updating tools or anything like that. That's nice. But I can just put exactly what I want down on the screen and then match it. So, yeah, that's my personal preference. And I just feel like for me personally, it works way faster.